So this is how Cassandra Ventura, also known as Cassie, her testimony ended like this. She described going to rehab in February of 2023. She says, "I didn't want to be alive." She described shooting a music video and saying that she had flashbacks to some of the things that she went through. She then started to cry and said, "I remember coming home, looking at my 2 children and my husband and telling my husband, 'You can do this without me.'" She said, "I tried to walk into traffic, but he stopped me." From then on, she talks about going to rehab and started to write everything that happened to her. She said she wrote a book and she wanted Sean Combs to read it, to have information, she said. "I wanted him to understand what he put me through. I was 22. I would have done anything for him. I did, but it wasn't enough. I reached out to his chief of staff." She said the book was not being taken seriously. "I wanted to be compensated," she said in court, "for the time, the years, the pain, trying to fix my life. $30 million for the rights is what she proposed." When the prosecution asked her why that number, she said, "I didn't really do any research. I just picked a number and I thought it would alert him." As many of you guys already know, November 2023, she filed a civil lawsuit. It was settled. She acknowledged that today, but for the first time we heard how much the settlement was for. $20 million, she said. When the prosecutors asked her, "Why are you testifying at this trial?" she said, quote, "I cannot carry this anymore. The shame, the guilt. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong." Ventura takes the stand tomorrow for cross-examination. The defense will now have an opportunity to question her.
Cassie Ventura, the star witness in Diddy's case, she wrapped her direct testimony. That's when the prosecution is asking her the questions. Tomorrow morning, she will be back on the stand. That'll be her 3rd day of testifying for cross-examination. The first day of her testimony, she was very focused on the freak-offs. Those are those drug-fueled sex parties that the government has alleged Combs forced Cassie into, often under the influence of drugs and sometimes even filming those freak-offs. So that was day 1 of her testimony. Today was really the violence. She said emotionally after freak-offs were just like empty. They were really empty. I just felt gross. It was the same feeling over and over. Now, what the prosecution did when it came to the domestic violence is they went through a series of different events over the years. Cassie said that the abuse started in their relationship about a year or shorter than a year into their 11-year relationship. So the abuse started fairly early and continued all the way until they broke up. We saw a photo of her eyebrow that had a huge bloody gash in it. The jury saw that. They also saw a fat lip. It was like a busted lip. And also, Cassie alleges that after that 2016 hotel incident that she had a black eye. We didn't see the black eye, but the reason why is because she was wearing sunglasses in the photo. After that hotel incident, the very next day, Cassie actually had one of her movie premieres. And at that movie premiere, her and Combs were posing on the red carpet together looking happy. But the picture could not have been more different from the reality that Cassie testified to. When the prosecutor zoomed into that photo from the red carpet, you could see on her shoulder that there was actually a bruise that the makeup didn't cover up. Now, as Cassie was wrapping up her testimony, she was asked about her civil settlement from that civil suit that she first filed in November of 2023. For the first time, she revealed what that monetary settlement for. She said that it was for $20 million. And this came after she wrote a book about her relationship with Combs. And the reason why she said that she wrote a book was because they broke up in 2018. She says after that, she went to trauma therapy. When she went to trauma therapy, she started to write a book. She went to Combs, and she admitted that she asked for $30 million for the rights to her book. She had an explanation for it, which was, quote, "I wanted to be compensated for the time, for the pain." That's when she then spoke about this civil suit, the settlement for $20 million, and she was asked why she testified here in this criminal trial, and here's what she said. "I can't carry this anymore. I can't carry the shame, the guilt. What's right is right. What's wrong is wrong. I'm here to do the right thing." It was a very powerful moment to end her testimony. And moments before that, she actually revealed to the jury that she was suicidal. She said that a few years after she broke up with Combs, all of these flashbacks were coming back from their relationship. And she came home and she told her husband while her kids were sleeping, "You can do this without me." She said that she wanted to open her front door and step out into traffic because she didn't want to be here anymore. That's how she put it. And she said that her husband wouldn't let her. And that is when she went into trauma therapy to really start what she essentially explained as her healing journey. Now, again, Cassie is going to be on the stand again tomorrow for cross-examination. This is when the defense is going to aim to poke holes in her story. So from Cassie's side, she says that this was a decade plus of abuse. And on the defense's side, they say, no, this was a consensual relationship. There was jealousy and there was infidelity, and that was the root of all of these actions.
I was in the courtroom as Cassie was testifying, so let me tell you guys everything that you didn't see or may have not heard, because it's a lot. I will say the most damning part of her testimony for me is when she describes a freak-off where Diddy and another man, an escort, are standing on top of her while she is laying on the floor high off of ecstasy, and they are urinating on her face to the point where she is choking on their pee. And to further give context, on the right-hand side of the court seated is her husband, Alex Fine. On the left-hand side, Diddy's 6 out of 7 kids. We're sitting in the courtroom as Cassie is describing having weekly freak-offs for years that would last 2, 3, one lasted up to 4 days. She talked about damaging hotel rooms so bad in one instance that they had to pay such a hefty fee because the hotel told them that they needed to completely redecorate the room after a freak-off. After a freak-off, there would be blood, urine, and lots of baby oil. There was so much baby oil. There was also so much baby oil talk to the point where the judge at one point told prosecutors, wrap it up. But before we even got there, a very pregnant Cassie was called to the stand. She was wearing a tight brown turtleneck dress that was hugging her baby bump. When she sat down, you could tell she was nervous. And if you couldn't, you quickly picked up on it because once she started talking, you noticed that she paused a lot. She would sigh heavily before she answered a question. One of those moments was when she explained to the court that a year into their relationship, that Diddy had approached her with this fantasy that he had. He called it voyeurism, where he wanted to see her have sex with another man, later referred to as freak-offs. She said her stomach dropped. She was 22 years old. She described herself as very naive and a people pleaser. She said the only reason that she agreed to it is because she knew it would make him happy and she was afraid what would happen if she said no. That's also around the time, she says, that he started to get abusive. Most of her testimony today was spent on talking about these freak-offs, the different escorts that they would use, the different hotels that they would use. She said that she would find escorts off of Craigslist and this escort service called Cowboys for Angels. And to describe them, they weren't the most attractive men, right? They were very average looking. Some of them weren't even conventionally attractive. One thing they had in common is most of them were black because Diddy preferred for her black men with a big D, she said. At one point, Cassie broke down in tears when the prosecutor asked her, why didn't you leave? If the freak-offs, as you explained, were so disgusting and humiliating, why not leave? And she started crying and said that she was very deeply in love and this was the only alone time that she could get with Diddy. And it got to a point where this was kind of the only emotional connection that she was getting from this man that she was dating. So much more that I'll cover in another video, including his incessant phone calls, him tracking her down with his security, and her never being able to escape him.
Welcome back to CB React. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button and turn on notification bell, because today we're diving into something intense. Cassie Ventura's testimony in Diddy's case. Now, I just finished watching her testimony and where I'm still trying to process everything. First of all, shout out to Cassie Ventura for her bravery. It takes serious strength to speak out, especially in a case involving someone as powerful and well-connected as Diddy. The way she described those events, the emotion, the detail, it didn't sound like someone chasing crowd. It sounded like someone finally telling their truth after carrying years of pain. What really hit me was when she mentioned feeling trapped and manipulated. That is deep. That is not just about fame or money. That is emotional and psychological control. And I know some people are out here questioning her timing, but let's be real. Victims don't all speak out right away. Some never do. So let's not silence the other ones who finally find their voice. This case is bigger than just one person. It's about accountability, even for those who seem untouchable. Diddy legal team will do their thing, of course, but let's not ignore the power of dynamics at play. Anyway, I'll be following this closely. What do you think of Cassie Ventura's testimony? Drop your thoughts in comments. Let's talk about it. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more honest reaction. Until next time, stay woke and stay kind.